Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to talk about organic forms. This builds on our last video, mapping number 3. So if you haven't seen the one on compound forms, you want to go back and check that one out before we get started. This is a short one, so here we go. You ready to get organic? Let's go.
Well, I look at it myself as the beginning, really, of an exploration. That's the reason we're exploring. You don't know what you'll run into on an exploration. What the sky looks like, what the stars look like. Do they still twinkle, or are they a steady light when you get outside the atmosphere?
So, looking at organic forms, you already have the skill set. You already have the conceptual framework to deal with these. Basically, what we're talking about here is compound forms gone crazy, but maybe not even that crazy, to be quite honest. We'll begin by looking at this as we did the compound forms. We'll start off with finding the high, low, the left, and the right of the overall set of forms. And then we're going to break them down into subdivided areas, exactly like you did the compound forms. We'll start with finding the forms that are easier to find. We will locate the boundaries of the parts that are truly organic, and then we'll break those down as well. The difference here is there may not be a hard edge. What we'll do is we'll look for larger angles that exist on the edges or sometimes the points of the form that's organic. And this will be another instance where we will hold the stick at an angle and align it with the edge of these points to find larger general angles within that area. We're going to look for both the exterior and interior boundaries. You'll notice that a lot of organic forms have interior spaces. They have negative space. That's a boundary and an edge that you need to find just as much as you do the outer boundaries of the form itself. From there, just like we were doing before with the compound forms, we're going to look for smaller, minor angle variations off those larger ones. More specific, and again, both exterior and interior. So we've broken it down to the point where we have a pretty good idea of how that organic form moves, of where it exists. So when we get to this point, we're in a good position to take it on down to get the smaller information that is existing in the organic forms. So we have a choice at this point. We can use one of two ways. Your first choice, we can continue to break down the even smaller angles from the minor ones. We can now do the even smaller angles on those minor ones. That gives us more information about the quality of movement of that more complex organic form. Or we can do the game that we did in our last drawing activity, and that is the continuous line contour. Again, both interior and exterior. And that's where I use those angles as a guideline, and then I look at my form, I put my media, whether it's charcoal, Conte, pen, pencil, what have you, and I'm going to watch a movement with my eye, and then I'll translate that on my page, and I'll go back up to where that change of direction occurred and follow the next movement. Again, we're working in single movements. So, it turns, I turn. It moves, I move. I go back up, I find the next movement, and then I record that. And I continue to do the 1, 1, 1, 1. This isn't something that you may have done in previous art classes where it's called a blind contour, where you never look at your page. This is actually called a modified contour, where you are looking at your page. And in this case, we have a set of angles and intersections and placements to help us guide more accurately what's going on. So we can actually get at a lot of small information because we know where it goes. And if I'm taking it one movement at a time before I record it, and then I go back up, I can take a very complex form and break it down. The example that I've used before is if I see this complex form and I try to take it all in one shot, for instance, it does this. Like that, or something like that. You don't have to make the face. But this, I've actually done like 15, 25 different movements there. And I'm probably not very specific about them. There's a lot going on. That's a lot to translate. But if I take it piece by piece, step by step, I will be able to get at that complexity. I'll let you in on a secret. This guy can eat a whole pizza. But if I try to take in that entire pizza and just eat the whole pizza at once, I can't do it. It's a lot. I'm probably gonna get pretty sick or worse. So I'm not gonna try to take on that whole pizza of that organic form, if you know what I'm saying. But I can eat that pizza if I slice it up and I take a slice and I take a bite at a time and I chew it up and I swallow it, I take another bite, I can get through that slice and I can pick up another slice and I can do the same thing. And eventually I get through that entire pizza. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying here. Maybe you're not wanting to eat a whole pizza, but metaphorically. And here's that metaphorical pizza. I've got three forms. I have the symmetrical form, which is the vase, the glass vase. I have a complex form in the fossil watch display figure on the right. And then I have, well, organic form from that snowball bush outside. In fact, you can see where it came from just up to the right. So, three forms, metaphorical pizza. Approaching it the way I just talked about, we can break it down. Like I said, I can eat a whole pizza. And guess what? You can too. Let's take a look here. I'm starting off with just a graphite pencil, a mechanical pencil, and a Staedtler Mars plastic eraser. And I'm working on the 18 by 24 Strathmore drawing pad that we've been using all semester. Just straightforward materials, nothing special, nothing fancy. So I started to do a time-lapse demonstration. And here you can see me doing all the things in the mapping, the guidelines, the placements, the subdividing that we've talked about doing. Unfortunately, I was so into the process that I didn't realize that my phone had stopped capturing the process only about a fifth or a quarter of the way through. So I did the entire process and didn't get it on video. But I think if we look at the surface of this paper, you can see all the things I've talked about in terms of guidelines, moving things around, comparisons, and the entire sequence of working from larger structure to smaller structure until we get down to the organic forms, where I think you can also see I used some modified contour on top of those angles. So I think there's evidence there that I ate that pizza. You can see that it has the history of its own making, and I didn't try to clean it up beyond that. And you can have that whole pizza, and you can leave those crumbs on the table as well, because that's part of the history of eating that pizza. Yeah, I went there. Because I will work a metaphor until it's dog-eared. For real. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Organic form is just compound form taken next level. I hope that helps you gain some confidence in something that maybe seems a little daunting at first. But I have to tell you, you have the skill set, you have the understanding, and by now you have the experience. So trust yourself, play with it, see what you find. I think you're going to be happy with what you do. So till next time, let's get organic. Go have some fun. Later.
Well, I look at it myself as the beginning, really, of an exploration. That's the reason we're exploring. You don't know what you'll run into on an exploration. What the sky looks like, what the stars look like. Do they still twinkle, or are they a steady light when you get outside the atmosphere?